sky for miles, typically a clear sky on a summer day, but cold, very cool, dry air here, where Methuselah has lived nearly 5,000 years. It's a wind-swept, rocky mountainside, and the exposed root system of Methuselah has been worn 5,000 years of erosion. And in between these exposed roots, a taproot grows between dolomite stones that are porous and filled with little ice remnants. And this tree is not necessarily green. It looks like an old, dead, gray trunk. And it's linear, but very fluid in the lines, as if you were to like put hot taffy over a hook and twist it and pull it and lengthen it. However, there is a section of Methuselah still alive and flourishing in between layers of fired, or I guess it would be lightning strikes, set fire to the tree. There's a thin layer of life force that runs deep down through a taproot and presents beautiful, bright green pine needles that are flourishing on these branches. Now, Methuselah has something to teach us as Toastmasters. How has this pine tree, this bristlecone pine tree, endured 5,000 years of weather in this environment? Because this is the very environment that bristlecone pine trees are designed to flourish. This is the nature of the bristlecone pine tree. So what can we learn? I stand to you today not to speak as the wise tree on the mountainside of Toastmasters. We do have Toastmasters that are older and wiser on this mountain, and perhaps they'll give speeches in the future. But I want the tree Methuselah to speak to us as Club 1577 San Jose Toastmaster and offer his wisdom of being the nature of a tree. Fellow Toastmasters, I ask you, what is it like for you? What's the weather like when it comes to public speaking, communication, and leadership? Are you being heard in your family at home? Are you being heard at work and in your business? Are you selling and moving those products like you want to, that you know you can? Do you feel like you're able to express yourself? All right? Or is the weather more like you are being hit with lightning on one of those branches when you realize the alarm's going off on Wednesday morning and it's another Toastmasters meeting and you realize you had a major role to fulfill? Are you enduring beautiful, plentiful, rainy seasons where you're flooded with speaking engagements? People are just asking to sign up for whatever you have to say? Or do you feel like your last speech was more of a drought? Or maybe a fallen tree in front of you? I have advice that I hear from Methuselah reaching out to us, and that is to do 4 things. To 1, seed ourselves. 2, to dig deep and establish roots in Toastmasters. To really, in order to grow, which is the 3rd thing, and establish and flourish and fruit and share our own wisdom, our own abilities, and our own exuberance. And then finally, 4, to be to be timeless. Right? Our words last forever. We can see how much occurs in 5,000 years. So first, Methuselah says, recognize your power. Through Methuselah's example, he was once but a tiny seed, just like us, full of life force, full of possibility. And as that tiny bristlecone pine tree seed was just like a tiny treasure filled with all of the DNA, all of the programming to create a future tree, all the programming to establish roots, grow tree trunk, carry water and minerals to transform into branches, to create and participate in photosynthesis, and even to create fruit, flowers, and cones that house thousands of tiny seeds for the next future generations that he will propagate as pine trees. So recognize who you really are and that you have so much to offer and that everything is possible for you. That your life, the winds of your life, have blown you into Toastmasters. Plant yourself here. Heed Methuselah, take root. Really establish by tapping into Toastmasters. This is a proven formula. There's manuals about leadership, about organizing others, about setting an example, about how to speak. Take time to commit and have foresight to not just show up, but soak up the system and really offer yourself the stability that when those winds, those tornado winds at work and in family life want to uproot your personal goals and take you away from Toastmasters, you remain steadfast. It is that in each and every role that you participate, this is our growth. We are becoming that tree. Don't worry if you don't ace your speech or ace your role. It's in the very act itself is our growth. Methuselah reminds us to grow and flourish, to actually reach out and associate with others towards a common, selfless goal. Just be your own nature. Create goals with others in the club, in the area, at the club level, such as creating a supportive Toastmasters environment right here as a meeting each week, to create successful club contests for your fellow Toastmasters here at our club and in the area. Branching out to others unleashes an invisible force inside us that propels our growth. This is our true nature. Just as the seed of Methuselah nearly 5,000 years ago grew in the optimal environment, Toastmasters is that environment for us. By regularly giving speeches, gaining feedback, giving feedback, leading meetings, leading us in club goals, and guiding others in a supportive atmosphere, this is how we develop as leaders and speakers. The very effort that is required to bring all of these activities forth is what grows us, and that is the nature of Toastmasters. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Heather.